Level up your LA Kings experience with the new Vivid Seats Elite Seats. All the on-ice Kings action with even more exclusive access. Enjoy great seats to the game along with premier dining inside the Lexus Club with all-you-can-eat food and non-alcoholic beverages. Plus, get a free Team LA Kings item and parking with your purchase. Score your Vivid Seats Elite Seats tickets today and earn rewards on each purchase from the only ticket company that rewards you for buying. Experience it live with Vivid Seats, the official partner of the LA Kings.
You're listening to an LA Kings podcast. For more episodes of this and every other Kings program, visit lakings.com/podcast.
You're listening to All the Kings Men, the official podcast of the LA Kings. Now, here's your host, Jesse Cohen.
Welcome back, Kings fans. I am Jesse Cohen. This is All the Kings Men. We were going to start talking about the unrestricted free agent signings last Thursday, but we got a chance to talk to new Ontario Reign coach Andrew Lord. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that interview, I think it was a pretty good one. And given Lord's age and experience with the organization, I don't know, it might be a chance to get to know someone who could be around for quite a while in the NHL. So because we had that episode, it bumped our conversation about the Corey Perry signing to today. First portion of the show will feature Reid Wilkins from Edmonton. Then I'll be joined by the Royal Half to talk about the weirdness of suddenly having Corey Perry in a Kings jersey, and there may be a little nostalgia for the good old days of Kings fandom online. Hope you enjoy it. Joining me now, Reid Wilkins, host of the Reid Wilkins Show on Edmonton Sports Talk. How are you doing today, Reid?
Well, thanks a lot for having me. I'm very fortunate that they named the show before they hired me, so I really lucked out.
It's an incredible coincidence.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Listen, I'm going to try and suspend my distaste for your market for the next few minutes while we talk. We're here to talk about Corey Perry. And my first question is just, Corey Perry in LA has occupied a sort of almost like Snidely Whiplash level of, cartoon villainy in the fan consciousness. Did he occupy that same place in Edmonton fan opinions before coming to the Oilers?
Oh, absolutely. He would have been one of the most hated players in the league by Oilers fans before he came here. Like, he was 100% despised. I mean, for most of Corey Perry's career, the Ducks were beating the crap out of the Oilers because they were a cup contender and the Oilers were either in last place or almost in last place. And then they played the Ducks in the playoffs in 2017. And the Oilers had a 2-0 lead with winning 2 games in Anaheim. And then the Ducks came back to win it in 7 games. So he was an absolute villain, like completely hated. I don't know if he would have been the most hated, but he would have been up there with, like Kessler was pretty hated. Obviously, some guys on the Flames over the years. But Perry was, a complete villain in oil country for a long, long time.
So then how long did it take for that, when he came to Edmonton, was there pushback? Were there fans who were upset? And if so, how long did it take for them to get over it?
From what I remember, I would say there was absolutely, I won't say absolutely none. I would say there were very few people who were upset about it because they knew what he was going to bring. And I think if there were any people who were like, I don't want this worm on my team, or were, well, I'm not sure, that probably went away after the first couple of shifts he was on the team. He was exactly what the Oilers needed, a veteran presence who played with some gamesmanship. I mean, this has often been a team that's been labeled as maybe not necessarily soft, but maybe a little easy to push around or distract or things like that. And we know that Perry will take the initiative when it comes to doing things like that. So I think as soon as he was signed, most Oilers fans were like, okay, well, now he's one of us. Now all the reasons we hated him are reasons we actually admire him as a player. And now we're going to have that on our team.
So the Kings have a top 9 that they relied on, late in the season and heavily in the playoffs. So when Corey Perry signed, it was pretty much assumed that he'd be brought in to play a 4th line role. But if we look back at his time in Edmonton, specifically against the Kings in the playoffs, he was playing with McDavid and Draisaitl for some shifts, and certainly on the power play. And Ken Holland has said he will get power play time. He almost scored 20 goals last season in Edmonton. So what is Corey Perry at this point in his career? Because if you took away his age, if I didn't know that he was 40 years old, I'd look at him and say, oh, Swiss Army knife, up and down the lineup kind of guy. But I do know that he's 40 years old. And so I sort of shrug and I go like, well, okay, fourth liner. But is it that simple?
Well, he's not a fourth liner. I mean, he might play on the fourth line sometimes, but that makes your fourth line a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And as you kind of referenced, the Kings kind of didn't use theirs in the playoffs. So here's the thing. He still has hands. He still has offensive acumen. He still knows where the puck should go. He's not quick, and I think his age limits his ice time. So what would happen is, he might be with McDavid and Draisaitl, but every third shift, Connor Brown would play a shift there or somebody else, right? But he pretty much, I know Hyman was hurt in the Cup final, but he pretty much replaced Hyman on the power play as the net front guy. I mean, he's still a highly competent, highly gifted offense. Well, maybe I shouldn't say highly. Like, he's not going to score 35 or 40, but he still has hands. He still knows how to put the puck in the net. He still knows how to dig for a rebound and deflect the puck. So I think that the Swiss Army knife term you used is accurate because he can play on any line, and that's a testament to his versatility and his effectiveness. Because I think any line that he's on, the chance that line is going to score a goal goes up. I mean, look, I'll tell you one thing I said during the Cup final. That after Leon Draisaitl, Corey Perry was the Oilers' second biggest threat to score a goal. Not get a point or not create a chance because you had still McDavid and Bouchard, but to actually put the puck in the net, I think Perry was their second biggest threat after Draisaitl in the Cup final.
There was a quote from Dean Lombardi, and I don't remember exactly when or where he said it, but Jim Fox references it all the time, and Lombardi was talking about the difference between like stars, superstars, and winners. And Corey Perry has, a Memorial Cup, Olympic gold, Stanley Cup. He's been an all-star. He's been a Hart Trophy winner, a Rocket Richard Trophy winner. I mean, his resume is unbelievable. When a guy like that comes to your team, even if he is only playing 10 minutes a night or fourth line or spot duty, whatever it is, can you see the impact of that sort of winning attitude? I don't even know if I necessarily believe in that sort of phrase, but is there an element that Corey Perry brings that other people simply don't bring?
Yes. And here's how I look at this. I mean, that's an interesting quote. I vaguely remember that when it was said. I often say on my show when I'm talking about teams or players or athletes in individual sports, of course you need talent and work ethic and dedication, but you also need human beings who just can figure it out. And, I assume a lot of people listening to this aren't pro athletes, but think about your workplace. You might have the salesperson or the receptionist or the junior executive. Maybe they're not the best at their job, but when there's a crisis, you want them with you because they are going to figure it out. They're not going to panic. They're going to know what needs to be done. They're going to know what needs to be prioritized. They're going to have the cell phone number of the guy who can come and fix the leak in the bathroom if they can't do it themselves, like those figure it out people. And I think Perry falls into that category. That yes, he's a highly skilled hockey player, but he also understands the tone of the game. When does he need to be aggressive? When does he need to be a little cheesy and try to goad somebody into a penalty? When does he need to crank the forecheck up? When does he need to say something in the dressing room? Like he did when the Oilers were down 3-0 in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Unfortunately, that was the last game that they won, but apparently he had some pretty direct comments about them being down 3-0 and not playing very well. They won that game in overtime. I put Brad Marchand into that category. Again, a highly skilled player, but his teams always seem to be good, and he always seems to be at the center of them. I assume you remember a guy by the name of Justin Williams.
Yes.
I put him in that category. Like, you would never watch Justin Williams, or you would never introduce somebody to hockey and say, watch this guy, and nobody would say, oh, he's one of the top 50 players in the league. Yet, gee whiz, he seemed to win a lot of Game 7s, and his teams seemed to win a couple cups and have other good runs. And he always kind of seemed to be at the center of good things happening. So I think that's what Perry brings, is that sort of figure it out type of thing. Like, okay, we're in this style of game, guys. We got to do this. We can't play this way. That's not going to work today. I think that's what he brings.
If you are an Edmonton Oilers fan and Corey Perry leaves the Oilers and signs with the Kings, are you more upset that he left the Oilers or more upset that he joined the Kings?
Oh, that's a good question, because the most of the feedback that I got on my show from fans was he'll be missed, but we couldn't pay him that much. Probably more upset just that he's not going to be on the Oilers.
Mm.
I mean, we'll see if it's going to be 5 in a row. And I'm not saying this, I know you had some fun saying that you're not a fan of my market. And I'm not saying this to be a troll.
It's only for today, you know?
I know. But, and I'm not saying this to be a troll, but why would Oilers fans be worried about the Kings?
Oh, all right.
I mean,
calm down.
I mean, this was the year they were supposed to be worried about them. Like, this was the year the Kings were absolutely supposed to win. And once the Oilers cranked it up, I mean, they won 4 straight. So I think, honestly, Oilers fans talk more about the Panthers now than they do the Kings. And I always say, well, hold on. Like, both teams have to go through an entire season and win 3 playoff rounds for them to be another matchup. But that's who Oilers fans hate right now, and who look at the standard of who we have to beat. Right now, it's the Panthers. Now, that'll change during the season if it looks like there's going to be another showdown with the Kings. But I don't think right now Oilers fans are too fixated on LA.
Well, I didn't expect to have my feelings hurt today, but here we are.
Well, I didn't mean to do that, but
that's fine.
You wanted honesty, in my opinion, so you're getting it.
I would prefer honesty. So final question about Corey Perry. There have been villains, there are tons of players who occupy that sort of villain category in the league, right? It doesn't matter what team they play on. They go from team to team and everybody knows, oh, it's that guy, and whatever. And there have been villains who, didn't seem to understand that they were villains and didn't seem to care how they were perceived. And so every time they'd open their mouth, they'd say something or put their foot in their mouth, or they just kept making it worse. And you just roll your eyes and you go like, oh, what is going on here? And then there's been villains who, I'll just use John Scott as an example. There was that play, I don't remember how long ago it was, where he went after Sidney Crosby during a game and everybody was, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? And then maybe a year later, he was a fan, campaign to get nominated to the All-Star game, right? And then he winds up winning MVP, and then he becomes beloved, and all of a sudden he's no longer a villain. He's sort of a beloved. He just changes the attitude based on, I'm assuming, being a decent guy. I don't know him, but he seems like a nice guy. Corey Perry seems to fully understand his villain status, and I don't think I've ever seen him say anything that was like really out of line that made me dislike him. I've seen him say things where I go like, oh, come on, you're egging people on, or when he was asked about Phil Deneau's comments late in the season about the Oilers trying to hurt Kings players, and he, pretended not to know what the heck Phil Deneau was talking about. Like, I get it. You have to say that, and good for him for saying it. But it didn't make me mad at him. It just made me roll my eyes. Is he the kind of guy who understands his, the view of him within the hockey world, which is, yeah, he's an incredibly talented, incredibly good player, but everybody knows he's an agitator, and he seems to understand his role and, on and off the ice.
I think he knows his role for sure. That's a good question. If he really how much of that he's playing up. Like, yeah, the Deneau comment. I don't know how much of that he was trying to play up or just deflect and be difficult about it. I never really thought of it that way. I honestly wonder, though, like, I don't think he cares what people think. You know what I mean? Like, I think he just cares what his teammates think and whether or not they win. I mean, I found him, I never interviewed him one-on-one, but in scrums, he was generally very good, very honest. He would always speak, good or bad. I remember they had a game, they lost to Minnesota, and they lost 5-3, but they got this weird goal that bounced over Fleury's stick from center ice, and then they scored a garbage time goal in the last minute. So it was really like a 5-1 game. And I said, kind of like, don't ask yes, no questions. But I was like, well, I'm going to take a chance in the post-game scrum. And I said, did you guys muck it up enough in front of the net? You know what I mean? I kind of put it that way. I just said, muck it up. And he's like, no. And he was like, not at all. And he kind of said, we got to do that. And it's got to be addressed. It's got to be addressed quickly. And it was like a great clip, so he's pretty honest. He's pretty blunt. I think he knows what has to happen for the team that he's on to win. I think that's going to help the Kings a lot. I guess he probably knows how he's perceived, but I don't think he cares because it's kept him at the NHL for about 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I keep coming back to is the guy's had an unbelievably long career. And last season, or this most recently completed season in the playoffs, he scored a goal against the Kings on the power play that I just don't know how many guys in the league can even still score that goal, with his back to the net and double deflection out of midair. I mean, there's, and then you take all the other stuff into it. Like, he's just really good. So I get that people are upset, but I'm excited to see what he can bring to the Kings. Reid Wilkins, thank you so much for coming to talk to us about Corey Perry. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me anytime.
Ever wonder what top athletes eat to perform at their best? Superfood Direct, the preferred catering partner of the LA Kings, is here to fuel your game. For athletes, nutrition isn't just fuel, it's the key to peak performance. Superfood Direct delivers chef-prepared meals that help you build strength, boost endurance, and recover faster. With over 11 years of experience, every meal is balanced with the perfect mix of proteins, carbs, and healthy fats to power you on and off the ice. Ready to fuel your greatness? Visit superfd.com/direct and get 20% off your first order with promo code LA20. That's LA20. All right, we're talking about the LA Kings signing of Corey Perry today, and joining me to kick things off, my best hockey buddy, the Royal Half. How are you doing today, the Half?
Scorey Perry. Corey Perry.
Now, let me ask you something. If we made a top 5 list of the biggest Kings villains of the last 20 years.
Ooh, this is a great question. I wish you'd give me time to think about this.
Is he number 1 or is he like number 2 or number 3?
I don't know who would be number 1 above him. Duncan Keith?
Joe Thornton? I don't know.
No, because they beat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to, Duncan Keith, he slashed Jeff Carter in the face.
Yeah.
I think he's 1 through 5, Jesse.
That's fair.
Show me 4 other people that deserve to be below him on the list. It's funny, when you mentioned that you wanted to talk about the Corey Perry signing, for the young fans that follow Jesse Cohen, we used to have a blog. A blog was a collection of articles on a website.
Actually,
a website was a page on the internet. The internet.
Do you actually know the origin of the phrase blog, by the way?
No.
It's a web log.
Well, weblog, okay, yeah.
And they just cut out the W. No, but I mean, I asked a bunch of people I work with why podcasts are called podcasts, and nobody could tell me. And
that I know. Oh, you don't know this?
No, I do.
The MTV VJ. It was Adam Curry, right? The old MTV VJ coined the term podcast because the iPod.
I didn't know who coined it, but it's a broadcast you listen to on your iPod.
I'm so excited we can talk about Adam Curry. I don't know if he patented podcast, but he made a lot of money off the phrase podcast. And he registered the domain for MTV.com. And eventually MTV had to buy it from him.
Wow.
He was early on in that. But no, so we used to have a weblog called theroyalhalf.com, which was, in Jesse's words, the Daily Show. and it was the funny, not the Trevor Noah Daily Show, it was the funny Daily Show. The Jon Stewart, both versions of it for LA Kings hockey. And before this podcast, I searched on the website, which is still, actually don't go to the website now that I'm talking it out loud.
I've gotten in trouble for some of the stuff on the website.
Don't look at the website. But I'm going to take it down right now for this conversation. But I just put in the search term in quotes, Corey Perry, 4 pages of content, like with what, 15 to 20 web logs came in. And then I went to my Twitter account, and don't go to my Twitter. Don't go to my pre-2021 tweets. And I mean, it's just page upon page of scroll. And like, it's the old twit pic, so I can't even see what the thing was that I tweeted about him. But this guy has been in the craw of LA Kings fans for quite some time.
If you've seen the GIF of Corey Perry crying behind glass with a droplet of water running down the glass so that it looks like it's running down his face, you can thank the Royal Half for that GIF.
Yes, and if you've seen it without the watermark on it, let me know, and I'll
Pete
I'll
Blackburn watermark.
Copyright. I'll report them for copyright infringement.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason I wanted to talk to you, because one of the things that sort of astonishes me is that, and listen, I get it, it's part of getting old. You said that I referred to the royalhalf.com as the Daily Show. And the reason that I did that, because once upon a time, there were close to 24 LA Kings blogs operating with semi-regularity.
What a time to be alive.
And each of them had the same sort of mission statement, which was, we bring you Kings news. And each blog had its own sort of take on how to approach Kings news. And as you said, I always looked at the royalhalf.com as the daily news approach to bringing you the news, it was funny. It was still the news, but it was done in a funny way. Now we have 2 or 3. LA Kings Insider went corporate and became what it is now.
I hate when that happens to good things.
I also sold out.
I didn't say that.
No, I say it all the time. But
you bought in. You didn't sell out. You bought in.
Exactly. But yeah, so I wanted to talk to you because before the Kings won the Stanley Cup in 2012 and after the Ducks won it in 2007, it's a very brief window of Kings history. I don't think I ever hated that version of the Ducks with Getzlaf and Perry, because they were really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely didn't like them. And it is really weird to have Corey Perry come to the Kings. And I don't know if you saw it or not, but on his press conference, that was like the second question that was asked. And
and he was
thank God he was like, yeah, it's weird. I get it.
Yeah, he's like, deal with it.
It's super weird.
It is weird. It's totally weird because it's like, I always respected him as a player because, I mean, people forget, he won the Hart one year, right? Like, he was a consistent 30, 40 goal scorer. I think he scored 50 goals that year. But in that playoff series in 2014, remember when he would shoot water into the guy's gloves?
Yeah,
and
hit quick.
He just was like a pass. And I know, it's like a big thing. We want to have a pass. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel these last couple years with him as this hired, gunman going from Stanley Cup final to Stanley Cup final. I think the act has gotten a little bit old and I think it's only because he hasn't been able to win the cup. I think if he would have won one of the, is it 15 Stanley Cup finals in a row he's been to?
I think it's 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7. I don't actually remember.
Potato. Yeah. I think if he had won one or two of them, then it's you excuse the behavior. But when he hasn't, you're like, well, how has this been? Yes, he helped get the team to the final, but then he didn't help them win. So I think that's where it's the intangibles of we have to have this guy on the team because of this and that. And, I think the thing that bothers me the most is this a little bit of this narrative of and I hear it more from, I haven't heard this from the Kings. I think this is more from the fans. It's he's the player you hate when he's on someone else's team, but you love him when he's on your team. And it's like, yes, maybe if it was like 25-year-old Corey Perry and he was scoring 40 goals a year and shooting water into opponents' gloves, but like he was on a line with Leon Draisaitl like last year for most of the season. Granted, he's going to be on the fourth line. Maybe there'll be some chemistry and he ends up on the first line with whomever, Byfield or Kopitar. But I don't think we're going to get the 20 goal version of Corey Perry in the intangibles. So I think that's just my like worry about the signing. But it is weird. I'm trying to think of like who else in Kings history. It's been like bizarre to see them in a Kings jersey. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head.
I'm going to go one.
Who?
Blake.
Well, yes.
In 2006. And that's honestly the only one I keep coming back to is feel how you want to.
But there was such a sentimental attachment to him coming back.
Not from all of us.
Yeah, not from all. Well, yeah. But it's like Perry never played. Like he never played. He was, a crosstown rival for so many years.
The reason I bring up the Blake thing is that there was a romanticizing of the Corey Perry story somewhere over the last 6 years. Yes. I can't quite put my finger on when it started, but when he was in Dallas, it was like, okay, Anaheim cut him loose and he went to Dallas and Dallas is good. And he could win another cup, but it didn't happen, whatever. Then he went to Montreal and with the weirdness of the bubble season, it didn't happen. Then he was in Tampa Bay, and somewhere in that Tampa Bay, in the 2 years that he was in Tampa Bay, suddenly it became a charming story, like just from how it was presented. And I guess I'm just a chump because I started feeling charmed by it. And then now, he spends 2 years in Edmonton beating the Kings out of the first round of the playoffs. And now I'm like, well, I fully understand why people won't accept it. Some people, I shouldn't say all people. Like there are people, and I see the comments on other people's shows. I see the comments on Twitter. I see them on, Reddit and Discord and all over the place. There's some people who simply will refuse to accept it. And I get it. But like I said, I got romanticized by the narrative. I bought in and I watched him and I was like, you know what? I kind of like the way he plays. I like the fact that he's unapologetic about the way he plays. Even in the playoffs, it was like a week or two before the playoffs, Phil Deneau said in the second intermission or first intermission, I don't remember. It was a regular season game, Edmonton and the Kings, and Deneau was like, yeah, they have their B squad out there and they're trying to hurt us. And then in the post-game media, Corey Perry did the pearl clutching, what? Moi? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, come on. I rolled my eyes, but I was like, you know what? Good for him. Like, that's funny. He knows exactly who he is. They know exactly what they're doing. And then in the playoffs, he just is who he is. And so I guess I'm more curious than upset. Whereas when they brought Rob Blake back in 2006, I was like, okay, the team at that point was not going to be any good.
Right.
So why are you agitating people just to bring back a guy who was, for those who don't remember, booed every time he touched the puck? And
I thought they were saying Blake.
And I can't remember if he got the captaincy back right away or if they waited a year, but like that to me was a much more egregious sort of ignoring of fans' feelings. Whereas this one, it's like, okay, I get it. People are going to be unhappy, but it's been 6 or 7 years since he was in Anaheim. He's not being made the captain. They're not breaking the salary cap bank for him. He's got a bonus laden contract. He's a $2 million cap hit this season. The only way he's a $2 million cap hit next season is if they make it to the Stanley Cup final, which I think most people would happily take. So I don't know. I'm just not upset by it. I'm more just sort of fascinated at the move because it's really weird.
And look, if the biggest criticism of this team in the playoffs was that their fourth line it was too young, they didn't feel confident putting them out there against the Oilers, then like you've rebuilt the fourth line at a low cost with someone who is very comfortable with the fourth line role and then can, like we said earlier, can step up into a first or second line role. I just think it's just weird because to me, the little Corey Perry joke I made at the start. Like, it really brings back the memory of the heyday of how awful the Anaheim Ducks social media team was. Like, during the height of his career,
They've gotten a lot
time.
better.
They've gotten a lot better. They've gotten a lot better. And like, I don't know if you might, again, I was just scrolling through my Twitter searches of Corey Perry this morning, and like Jeff Carter got knocked out by a punch in a playoff game, and they tweeted like "Good night, Jeff," and then like deleted it after. Like they were just so bad. But like it also reminded me of two things. Do you remember? Do they still use hashtags on Twitter? Hashtag Corey Perry origin story.
Oh God, yeah.
Do not search that.
Do not.
Do not search that.
I do remember those. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that completely.
Do you remember when Corey Perry got the mumps? Do you remember the mumps epidemic? Like,
do you remember when Bailey, the mascot, wore got a big surgical mask, or not a surgical mask, but a mask that.
And I know we're talking about things from like 10 plus years ago, but like just as last year in Jim Hiller's first win as a coach, Corey Perry stole the game puck from the net and like hit it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's like a year and a half ago, and now this guy is lining up for the team.
I think he might have done that in the playoffs too this year.
He did it. He did do it in the playoffs.
It was like a month ago.
He did it for the first Jim Hiller's first win as head coach, and then also in the playoffs. So it's bizarre. I always said I wanted to do this, but I never did this as a Kings fan. I wanted to have like a great collection of jerseys, shirt jerseys. And like, I think I have a Jason LaBarbera jersey somewhere, but I always wanted to get the single season, like player shirt, like the Cavalier jersey and the Jerome McGinley jersey, like a Corey Perry jersey is actually going to be like, I think with a Kings logo is going to be a collectible for sure. It's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird. It's going to be weird if he wears number 10, which I think some of the rumors have been out there about that, just because of the history of that number with the LA Kings.
The alleged curse on number 10.
Well, just of the memory of what Richards did with his team. But
yeah,
no, it's so bizarre. But again, if the Kings likely are heading for a fifth straight matchup with the Oilers in the playoffs, like, the journalists will love it. The narratives will love it if Corey Perry is playing against the Oilers in the first round against the Kings.
I know that there are going to be moments where I roll my eyes so hard that they're at risk of popping out of my head with people with the hashtag narratives. But it is gonna be interesting. It's gonna
be interesting, for sure.
Like, good, bad, or otherwise, it kind of doesn't matter. It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be interesting.
And this is I've been accused of repeating jokes a few times in my illustrious career
by some of your closest friends.
By most of my closest friends. But one of my go-tos has always been like, the LA Kings drafted Brian Boyle and Jeff Tambellini like in the two slots right before Corey Perry. So Corey Perry very easily could have been an LA King. And it's funny. It's rushing back to me now. I don't remember what year it was. I remember going to a preseason game. That's how long ago this was. I actually went to a preseason game. Actually went to a game. That's how long ago this was. And it was against the Ducks, and Corey Perry, it was his rookie season. I think he was wearing like number 60 or something like 61 or some weird number. And I remember walking away from that game and being like, holy crap, that kid is good. Like, I remember seeing in that preseason game that this guy could play. So I just love the potential narrative that, like, in a sliding doors universe, even if they drafted one of Boyle or Tambellini, like, they could have had Corey Perry on their team. And this could be a Rob Blake situation where Corey Perry was coming back to the Kings after, decades of being away from them. I don't know. This is we've made this joke before, but what is fan short for, right? Fanatic. Everyone on Twitter is going to like have their opinion on this, and then like in those last couple of weeks before the playoffs, when Corey Perry is like leading this team into hopefully a matchup not against the Oilers, or we're all going to forget about like the summer of 25.
So I just looked it up, and you're right. It was number 61. So I'm impressed.
Yes. Oh my God. We're talking about useless information.
Yeah. No, but that's impressive.
I want to be very clear that was off the top of my head, that I did not look that up at all. Wow.
I'm always impressed when people remember that kind of stuff, because there's always somebody who's like, "Do you remember what number Anze Kopitar won wore before he was number 11?" I'm like, no.
What was it? It was like
52 or something. I don't know.
No, but like, in all honesty, I remember being, because I think he had a couple goals in that preseason game. I remember being like, whoa, this guy's a player. Like, this guy can play.
The other thing is, there's only one way that I can think of that this isn't an interesting story. And I'm not even going to say it out loud, because I don't want to, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious, and I don't want to stitious it into existence. But I mean, like, I'll just say the only way it's not interesting is if he doesn't play.
Yes, right.
And just leave it at that.
Yeah, and it becomes like a Brett Hull with the Coyotes situation, right?
Or was Valeri Bure the guy that the Kings got right before the lockout season?
He never played. Yeah, he never played again. But there's that crazy shot of him and Candace Cameron. Like,
yes, wearing a Kings jersey. Yeah.
God, you really have me stumped on who are the four worst like pests that the Kings have ever played.
Well, I'll give you the opposite side of it. Who are the, could you make a full roster out of all-time players to finish their career with the Kings now? Because we've got LeCavalier, Iginla, Grant Fuhr didn't finish his career here, but Grant Fuhr came here.
Yes.
I mean, even Jeff Carter and Mike Richards, Jeff Carter didn't finish his career here, but like, there's been a lot of really
Gary
good players.
Galley.
Sure, Gary Galley, Steve Duchesne. But like, there's been a lot of notable players. Every now and then I'll stumble onto a post on Reddit where it's like, who's the weirdest guy in the wrong jersey you can think of? And then there'll be a scroll of.
There was that period where there was like, it felt like every couple of weeks a player was celebrating their 1,000th game played with the Kings, but beyond Brown and Kopitar, it was no one who had like, it was like LeCavalier, it was, Regier, like it was all these weird 1,000 game players. But yeah, maybe we're back to being a nice destination for people.
Didn't Ryan Smith play his 1,000th game as an LA King?
Yep,
and didn't they all wear wigs during the?
Yep, they wore the mullets. That's right.
It's just like such a bizarre. Like Ryan Smith was here for, I don't know, 2 years or something.
Right, and he played. That's what I mean. Okay, this seems like a good summer project. There's been plenty of players who've played their 1,000th game with the King that, like, you're like, wait, really? That's who he played his 1,000th game?
At least Corey Perry won't be doing that. I mean, I don't think he's coming up on any milestones. Now I got to look it up. Of course.
Yeah, I have the database. He might be he'll be playing his 1,400th game with the LA Kings if he can get 8 games in.
I guess he can get to 500 assists.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have 42 goals, but if he has 42 goals this season,
52
goals.
Yeah, I doubt he's having a 52 goal season.
I don't know. There might be some chemistry with him and Trevor Moore.
Yeah.
Penalty minutes he could get to 15. He could get to 1,500.
If he doesn't, it'll be a disappointment. He's 13 away.
So I think we'll be seeing some history made this year with Corey Perry.
But yeah, I mean that becomes like, how many just Hart Trophy winners?
Who will you see? Okay, here's my question: opening night, home opener. Will there be someone in a Kings Corey Perry jersey in the crowd?
I don't think so. I think it'll take a while for people to. I think there'll be some people who are amused by it, some people who are curious about it, some people who are like fine with it. I don't think anybody's enthusiastic about it yet. Game 1 of the playoffs, depending on how the regular season goes, maybe. Here's a conversation I had at Dev Camp, and I strongly disagreed with the person, and I'll just ask you what you think before I share my opinion. Game 1 of the regular season, or more important, let's just say the first preseason game at Crypto, the only preseason game at Crypto. Will there be audible boos?
This is a great question. I've actually thought about this. It's so funny. I would be inclined to say no, but Kings fans surprise you. And when it comes to, and I've never had this relationship because I've always viewed Anaheim as just an inferior suburb to Los Angeles.
Sure.
There is like legitimate hatred between like Kings fans and the Ducks. Like with the who's the crew that does the takeovers, the Royal
the Royal Army.
Like there is legitimate vitriol with the Ducks that I don't think gets a pass just because he's now playing for the Kings. So I think it'll be like 60-40 boos versus not. Like I think there will be audible boos in the first game.
So I think there will be.
I'm willing to like go to
some.
FanDuel right now
and see if it's on there. I think there will be some, but I don't think it'll be the majority. I don't think it'll be overwhelming. And even the ones that there are, I think it'll be. I know there's no way of telling this, but I think it'll feel good natured.
I don't know. I feel like Kings fans they don't like Perry. They don't like the Ducks.
Yeah. Well, listen,
You know?
You've been teasing me for 20 years that I'm from Orange County because I grew up in Long Beach. So
no, because you live south of the 105. That's why you live in Orange County.
I mean, now I live south of the 105 by like 5 blocks. So
Still south.
But so in 2002, I went to the NHL All-Star game because it was at then Staples Center, now Crypto.
Oh yeah, Modry was our
That's right.
All-Star.
And I don't remember where the tickets were, but they were in the lower bowl. And I went by myself because I'd never been to an All-Star game. I figured it was probably my last chance. How could I have known that 15 years later that I'd get a second chance? And for those who don't remember, Rob Blake had been traded to Colorado in March, I think, of 2001. And he was representing the Colorado Avalanche at the All-Star game, and Kings fans had established the tradition of booing Rob Blake every time he touched the puck in LA when he came back as a member of the Colorado Avalanche. And I hadn't planned on booing him at the All-Star game. But the woman I was sitting next to in my seat was complaining so much about Kings fans booing Rob Blake that I just kept my mouth shut and waited until the player introductions. And then when they said Rob Blake's name, I just started yelling boo as loudly as I could, mostly just to antagonize her because I was younger and crueler than I am now. And it seemed funny to me at the time. And the look on her face was totally worth it. And, no regrets. But I'm sure somebody will boo when he's introduced. But I think it goes away really quickly. I don't think it lasts. And I don't think it's hostile.
I think it's a bit of a hazing. I think there'll be some intense boos in game one, and then by game two it'll be gone. But I don't know. I'm in the. I don't think I would boo, but I again, it's the Ducks of it all. It's like if they booed Rob Blake, who went through a very tenuous split from this franchise, but had a lot of success. Like, why would they not boo Perry, who was just number one?
I just think. Honestly, I think part of it is that it's been so long, and I'm going to sound like an old man right now, but
you just played the last two seasons against the Kings for the Oilers.
But that's not the Ducks of it all. That's the Oilers of it.
Yeah.
So here's you and I were chit chatting before I hit record, and I mentioned Eklund, and I mentioned to you that there are multiple.
Oh, Ellie Eklund, the great Flyers goaltender.
Different Eklund.
Oh. Okay.
Eklund with the web blog from the early 2000s.
Yeah, he was early in on the web blog.
But I was sort of stunned to realize that there are a number of people within the Kings media ecosystem who have no idea who Eklund is. And so I found myself having to explain who Eklund is. So even though Corey Perry was a hated villain of the Gen X, or, elder millennial fan base of the LA Kings, I don't think younger fans know or care. And I could be totally wrong about this, but I just don't think
maybe
people it used to really get my back up and I would get defensive when you remember when the Kings won in 2012 and there'd be people Wyshynski or Merrick or whoever, and they'd say the Kings didn't have any fans before 6 months ago, and we'd be like, excuse me,
We're like, hey, there was the two of us.
Yeah, we were sitting there alone watching Dancing Boy in the lower bowl, back when you could get tickets for $12.
We sat through the Dan Cloutier years.
That's right. I mean, I can go chapter and verse on Donald McLean and Matt Zoltek and all those guys.
Scott Barney.
Oh God, Scott Barney. I did not have a Scott Barney reference on my bingo card for today. Wow. Remember the brief window of time where they wore purple and they had Scott Barney and it was like Barney and he's tall and they wore purple. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the point is,
74, I think.
All right, now you're gonna make me look it up. I was gonna say 67, but all right. Either way.
Today's episode of Old Guys Talking About Old Guys.
I mean, honestly, that's people love that stuff. But so my curiosity is like, do the 62 split the difference?
All right.
Do the kids care? And I think they care more about the unfortunate rumors surrounding his departure from Chicago than they do about than what he did to Jeff Carter in 2014.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just think he was so hated the last two seasons. If you want to play the millennial card, like the last two seasons, I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really.
I don't know how you boo Nurse every time he's touching the puck, and you don't boo Corey Perry on the first night even if he was playing for your team.
Well, I think. And I've sort of made this argument before. I think the real answer is that because Corey Perry's really good. There's another reason that is fairly obvious that nobody needs to go into, but I just think Corey Perry's really good. And so, Zach Dooley's fond of saying you don't boo nobodies, and he's right.
That's true. That's true. Scott Barney never got a boo.
That's right.
Yeah. No matter what rink he was in.
And like Corey Perry's just really, really good, even at 40. I mean, he's 40.
That's what's crazy to me is like we're talking about a free agent signing that's kind of close in age to me, like kind of.
So when I was
less than a decade, like I'm just so used to being like, oh, this guy's a veteran in the room. He's 33 years old, and I'm like, but it's like Corey Perry is actually 40.
When I was in high school, we lived a few blocks away from Cal State Long Beach. And which is in LA County, not Orange County. Yes, and my mother we had an extra bedroom in our house, and my mother would rent it out to students at Cal State Long Beach. And one year we had this guy named Brian come and live with us, and he was a sports fan, and he knew I was a sports fan, so we would talk about sports. And he was, I don't know, he was 20, 21-ish, whatever, however old he was, living off of campus. And I was 15 or 16, and it must have been talking about the draft or whatever. But he just said, like, wait till you're old enough for the players to be younger than you. And even then he wasn't that much older, right? Because he was in his early 20s at the latest. But now that I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40, all of the players are younger than me.
No.
And, now we're getting to the point where like players that I rooted for as a kid, their kids are now in the league and have been for a while. So yeah, it's a bit wild. Like Corey Perry was drafted in 2003.
It's him and Burns, right? Are those the only two left from that class? I think
that sounds right. And did you see the Brent Burns trivia about Mark Messier? And
his second NHL game. Yeah. His second NHL game was against Mark Messier.
Yeah, and I think he's the only active player to have played against somebody who played against Gordie Howe.
Gordie Howe, that's what it is. Yeah.
Weirdly, like, all right, we're stretching this. Now.
And did you know that Brent Burns eats pizza after every game? And
oh my God, pizza? You're kidding me! And he likes animals. He's got a crazy beard.
Of the game. He's a real personality of the game. Ugh.
If that man never wins a Stanley Cup, I won't be. I'm sure he's a very lovely man, and I'm sure he's a great guy. But like, yeah. So that honestly, but that brings up another angle of it. Is like prior to Corey Perry signing with the Kings, there was part of me that took a weird, perverse pleasure out of him being on the losing team for however many.
Of course.
But now, like,
I believe your people have a word for it. It's Schadenfreude.
Yeah,
right?
My people? Why are they my people? But now, like, he's got bonuses built into his contract to pay him. Let me look it up. I had it. So he makes $500,000 at 10 games played, an extra $250 at 20, 30, 40, and 50 games played, $125 if they win round one, $250,000 if they win round two, and another $125,000 if they win round three. I want him to get that money. I want him to get every
single
penny of that bonus.
Everything.
And obviously, I'd love for them to win the Stanley Cup. But that's another weird angle of this is like the thought of actively rooting for Corey Perry to become a 2-time Stanley Cup winner is not something I thought I would do.
And it's with the Ducks and the Kings. I mean, like, that is poetic justice, right? Like, I wanted Tom McKellen so badly to win the cup when he was coaching the Kings to shove it in the face of the Sharks fans, right? Like that, like you could never win it as a Sharks coach, but you won a Kings coach. But for Corey Perry to finally end the curse and to win the Stanley Cup with the Kings and be a 2-time Stanley Cup winner, one with each Southern California team that'd be amazing. And then he'll go skip for the Sharks the next season or something like that.
I mean, what's going to be weirder? What's going to be weirder is if he finishes his career here and then just becomes part of the Kings front office,
becomes a color analyst,
or a strength and development coach, or an assistant. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like, there's tons of guys that wind up signing on with the team. There's
goalie coaches, there's strength coaches, there's shooting coaches. Is there a pest coach? Is there an annoyance coach? I think he might be able to open up a new pipeline of career.
There isn't, but even though fighting is all but disappeared from the game, there are fighting gurus who, so I mean, nothing's impossible.
He teaches you how to, like, trip the goalie while you're in the crease. Yeah, you just all the finer. It's funny, like, I mean, there was that footage of Joe Thornton earlier this week where he was teaching the new draft pick, Misa, the Jar Jar Binks guy, when they were teaching him how to do tips in front of the net. Everyone's like, "Oh, look at this, noted tip specialist, Joe Thornton." But it would be great, like, if he becomes a pest.
Yeah, this is how you steal somebody's stick from off the bench and skate away with it.
This is like, you have to practice shooting water into their glove,
But so
there's a NHL award skit in there that we're.
So for some reason, all of that made me think of Sean Avery.
Yes,
and who was also a pest, and who was on the Kings for a while,
and continues to be online.
Yes. So I just mean like. It's just, I guess it's just part of getting old is realizing that, there are no new tricks under the sun and everything, all of this has happened before and will happen again. And I kind of looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it will be fun. And it definitely, look, there was a moment where I was like, maybe I should write a post about this. Like, there was a moment
Bring back the blog.
I was like, Corey Perry coming back. The kids are a little bit older now. I have a little more free time. Like, but now,
I was speaking to a fan at development camp who is, I want to say, the son of a friend of Scribe.
Okay. Of Surly and Scribe.
Of Surly and Scribe fame, which for those listening who have no idea what we're
talking about. A classic weblog.
Was one of the blogs that existed back in the day. And I was saying, like, for as much as I felt, and no offense, Surly or Scribe, if either of you is listening to this,
I forget which one is which.
I know exactly which is which. For as much as I think they may have missed on their attempts at humor, I liked having them in the world. Yeah. And I miss their blog, because the nice thing about having the 24 different blogs that existed was that each one had its own sort of angle. And all 24 of them didn't, but there were 6 or 7 that stood out and had their own, different take, and were really, they're missed, and I, do you remember the eulogies that Wyshynski used to do on Puck Daddy? And, like, do you remember the trouble that Surly and Scribe got into for theirs for the Ducks? I think it was the Ducks one year.
It was
brutal. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but it was rough. Don't go looking for it if you're listening to this.
Mine were so, there was nothing more I loved than writing those Puck Daddy eulogies. Like, those were so much fun.
The 2 funniest things still to me that I've ever seen. One was your creation of the video of the fight between.
You love that. You love that.
It's so funny.
Which is like,
I don't even remember who Scribe was fighting with. Was it?
It was Quisp. It was Quisp. Who I don't think it was a blogger. I think he was just like a commenter, right?
I don't care.
It is
hilarious.
What was that program? What was that program called?
I don't even remember. But you typed in dialogue, and the computer would generate.
And it was like, in a world where we're living with Copilot and ChatGPT, like it's pretty crazy that it was like 15 years ago that you could type in words and it would create like an animated like movie about it.
But the second funniest thing ever was Rudy Kelly's eulogy for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yes.
Where he called Philadelphia a dried out mud hole in the desert and referred to all Philadelphians as crocodiles, angrily defending. I can't remember the phrase. It's the funniest thing I've ever read. I'm jealous of those two things.
Okay. We're way off on a tangent.
Yeah,
and I know you don't edit the episode, so this is going to be a great ride. But after the Kings won the Stanley Cup, I had a graphic created that was the etching of the Stanley Cup with all of the Kings bloggers on it. Can I read you the blog?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So Royal Half, Mayor's Manor, all the Kings men.
Yeah.
Battle of California.
Oh, Battle of California. Yeah.
King's Cast.
Yeah.
The original, Surly and Scribe, McSorley's Stick.
Oh yeah, McSorley's. That was Quisp, right?
No, the SB Nation Kings blog, which my joke was I called it that because I refused to call it Jewels from the Crown. Quisp was on Jewels from the Crown.
Okay, the roster for Battle of California and Jewels for the Crown changed so many times that it's
that was where Rudy Kelly and Battle of California was Rudy Kelly and Ryan Dunn.
Yes, not dead Ryan Dunn.
View from my seats. Life in Hockeywood.
Oh,
Crown Royal.
Yeah.
Kings News Daily.
Yeah.
LA Kings Outsider.
Mm-hmm.
The 110 Report.
I don't remember the 110 report.
Waving back at Gretzky.
I remember waving back at Gretzky.
Protect This Throne.
I remember Protect This Throne. I remember the headline image of Protect This Throne for some reason.
Kings Hockey for Women. LA Kings Court. I do not remember LA Kings Court
that was Robin, I think.
And Let'sGoKings.com.
Yeah, which was a message board, but yeah. It's and now we're basically, Hockey Royalty has stepped in to fill the void and the Bannermen exist, but yeah, it's just not nearly as diverse as it used to be.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like people are doing now is great, but it is pretty wild to think about how many people like used to blog about this team.
Yeah, when they were no good.
That's awful.
That's the irony is that they got really good. Awful. Yeah, and that's sort of...
We were excited about signing Jesus, Tom Pricing, Kyle Quincy.
Yeah.
That's how excited we were.
And I'm sorry, I referenced that recently. I thought Brad Stewart was in that.
No, Brad Stewart was a different one.
Was that like a couple days later or something?
Yeah, Brad Stewart might have been later, but Nagy was the fourth.
Right, Ladislav Nagy. Maybe Brad Stewart was a couple days later, but yeah, that was a... Anyway, all right, I'm going to wrap it up because we've gone way off.
That's it.
Now we're just reminiscing about the good old days. The Royal Half, thank you so much for joining me. And listen, if you are the one who goes to game one and starts all the booze, it doesn't count. So,
okay, I will be at game one.
Yeah.
I will be wearing a Dallas Stars Corey Perry jersey, but I will not boo Corey Perry.
Now, if one of your kids boos, that's fine. But... All right. Thanks for joining me, Half.
Always a pleasure, Jesse.